Hello, and today I want to analyze the first Janna top of the LCS. Interesting things to note. In terms of draft, I really like the Trundle here, because Trundle's a really good counter into the Zinzao and the Leona, so that's one thing to note. Although I will say CLG blundered really hard on the top lane pick. So as you can see, Gwyn and Kale are still left open, but they just didn't ban Gwyn or Kale. And the way of countering this Janna top is to be able to just pick a hyperscaler top lane that can kind of just farm up. So Graves is fine for this, but Gwyn and Kale were wide open. Like you should just draft Kale here because it's just a free lane for Kale. That's one of the most common ways of countering Janna. The other way of countering Janna is by just kind of handshaking and kind of just having your own Janna of the same thing. So you'll go someone like Ivern to just match it, where you basically just have someone roam with the Janna. But that's just an interesting thing to know. I do like the Trundle, so it's a plus for them, but the Graves is a bit of a negative in my opinion. Yeah, that's just my opinion going into the draft. I do like the Caitlyn Lux. I want to see what they do with it. Overall, CLG's draft isn't horrible. It's fine. I just really would have liked to see the Kale, considering that they have that. So, FlyQuest first picked Janna. So they knew what they were getting into, but they still just handshook it. Like, why go Graves? Why not just go Kale or Gwyn? It actually just makes no sense for Aframu. But what is Contracts doing? Yeah, no, they just go into Contracts here. Yeah, he's just dead because of the Johnson follow up. Also, I didn't note this in draft, but usually when you draft Janna top, you really want to draft something like Jinx, where if you get, because the thing is, Janna as a champion is easier to get ahead than like a Jinx, so you can like get yourself ahead quicker. But when you have something like a Janna that's gonna get your ADC ahead, it's better to have a champion that can do more when they are ahead, because a Jinx just does more than a Jhin when they are ahead. So I don't really like the Jhin here. If they had something like a Jinx, the game would just feel over. Like if you, especially when if you draft like a protect comp around this Jinx, like this is just a really good draft. But they instead opt to go Jhin Leona, which I also really didn't like this Leona pick because they drafted it into a Trundle. The Trundle already was drafted because it countered the Xin Zhao, so I like that. But then they just blunder by picking Leona. Yeah, this game doesn't really make much sense from here. Just place down a lot of vision. You see Contracts, he doesn't know what to do. Like, what do you really do in this scenario? It's kind of just hard and rough for Contracts. He's in a counter matchup, but it doesn't really matter because Jose Dioto just gets way more farm than him by the nature of just having this Janna. So the interesting thing to know is, yes, the Graves is free farming here, but Janna's just going to get so much more done on the map that it doesn't matter. Also, another reason why Janna top is so like oppressive and strong is because the way it actually abuses bounties. So what's going to happen is FlyQuest is going to have a little bit less gold than CLG. They're going to have like around even gold. But the way it's going to work is Janna's going to have much less gold than Graves is. So Graves is going to have this giant bounty, even if his team is losing. Like, every lane will be losing except for top lane because he's free farming. He'll have an insane bounty, so then FlyQuest can just go and kill him, giving giving his team an even bigger bounty. And the thing is, Janna, yeah, if you see here, Graves has 3,400 gold, Janna has 16. It doesn't matter because Janna doesn't require gold to actually function as a champion. Graves does. So, like, even though it doesn't look the strongest, like when you're looking at like the gold and everything, this John is going to do way more than this Graves ever will do, which is partially why I would have liked to see a Kale here or like a Gwyn, because if you're just going to give him a free lane to farm, at least let him be a hyper carry. So like if he's playing Kale, it's like if the Janna leaves the lane to do all this stuff, then you have the really big threat of just a level 16 Kale. But no, they decided to pick Graves. Like I don't know. I'm just a little confused as to why they picked Graves. Like Graves is fine for scaling, but there's other options that kind of just scale more. And yeah, no, from here, FlyQuest is just gonna start taking every objective because there's always gonna have a man advantage with Janna. It's like it doesn't look like Janna's doing too much right now, but Janna's actual like presence on the map has actually been pretty big, and it's only gonna continue to get bigger from here. But yeah, I really wish this wasn't a Jhin. This should have just been a Jinx or an Aphelios. Oh, and Contracts is just dead. Yeah, it's just 4 people there. And now Takui's joining in, but I don't think there's anything Takui can really get done. Yeah, he just leaves. Dragon's up in a minute, so Flycos is probably just going to grab that. And see here, so yes, this Graves has like a free farming lane, but it really just doesn't matter because Kumo can get way more done. Yeah, poor Jenkins. Alright, so FlyQuest just gets Dragon. There's not much CLG can do about it. Because, again, they had this main advantage with Kumo. Jenkins does take first turret, but honestly, like, it doesn't mean much. Like, they're both teams are even in gold, yes, but the Janna does more with less gold, so FlyQuest is actually just ahead. And they also have the Dragon lead. And Jose Diota still has this Rift Herald. So it might look like it's a pretty even game, but it's really not. Although I will say this game would be even more accelerated if they had a Jinx or like an Aphelios. I'm just really against this Jhin. Like just pair it with a Jhin. Also, an interesting thing to note is that in draft, FlyQuest first picked this Janna, and CLG kind of just hand shook it. Like I'm really surprised they didn't have like some sort of counter to it. Like I just don't think Graves is it. Like you're just letting the Janna do everything. You're not even drafting like a hyperscaler when a lot of them are open. I just feel like this was really poor drafting from CLG overall. Like, all right, so another thing to note is that Graves has 2 build options for his first item, for his mythic. He either goes Eclipse or he goes a Mortal Shield Bow. A Mortal Shield Bow is better scaling and gets you the 60% crit power spike sooner, while Eclipse is better as a 1 item. But he knows that he's basically just going to be free farming in his lane. So there's actually just like zero reason to go Eclipse. I don't know why he has Eclipse here. He should have just gone Immortal Shield Bow and gone the 60% crit like immediately. Like, why is Jenkins building this? He's not actually like itemizing accordingly to the situation. Oh, one really interesting thing to note is I really like the second item Spirit Visage from Xin Zhao. So it increases the shields and healing that Kumo does to him, but it also increases his own healing from his passive. So this is a really nice item pickup. I really like Spirit Visage in spots like this when you're playing with enchanters. Like if you're a frontline, especially if you know that the enchanter is gonna use their healing and shielding on you, it's just super nice to have. It just makes your life so much easier. Okay, they do a little bit of a Baron dance, but nothing really comes of it. Luger, stop freaking attacking it. Alright, yeah. Both teams just kind of back off. Also, what is CLG doing? You cannot take the Baron. Contracts, what are you doing, Contracts? I mean, they can't. What are they doing? Like, contracts, you don't have the HP for this. You're too far behind. What did I just watch? Okay, this looks like it's a pick on the Jenkins. Johnson Kumo should just be able to kill him here. Yeah, Kumo's engaging on it. Ooh, that was... Alright. Johnson did not know that Kumo was about to ult there. But yeah, no, let's just kill into Johnson. CLG's trying to take the Baron, but honestly, they don't really have... Does FlyQuest just take him off? No, they get the Baron. Yeah, they get this Baron. Does FlyQuest win this 3v4? No, okay, no. Alright. I mean, overall, that was pretty good for CLG. They lose their Graves, but you, they, they force two people to go and deal with the Graves, and because of it, they get the Baron. Although, okay, they do get contracts here, but this is still pretty worth for CLG overall. Because Graves is just big enough to where they have to send two people to deal with him. Although I do think if this was a Kale or a Gwyn, it would take more than just those two people to deal with them. But that's whatever. Okay, so yeah, they went for a 50-50 still. So that still wasn't very CLG favored. Still could have gone Jose Dioto's way. Ooh, yikes. Alright, CLG's gonna start off the Drake. Palafox can just solo it. Okay, so it seems FlyQuest is kind of just giving up on the soul point. So they are at soul point, but they're kind of just giving up on the dragons because it's Cloud Soul, which doesn't really do much for them. Like, Cloud Soul is generally just the weakest soul, especially if you don't have champions that really like it. Like, none of these champions are really, like, ecstatic to have it. Oh, okay. That was a nice pick on the Palafox. Not sure what that Caitlyn ult was for. I guess it chunked Johnson a bit, but, like, it doesn't achieve anything. Okay, and looking at Graves' build, this is really troll. So the Infinity Edge is delayed by a full item because he wanted to go Eclipse, and he goes third item Collector. Now, if you don't know, Collector as a third item is really stat inefficient. Like, so many items are so much better here than Collector. I really don't like it. And if Graves had Ignite, I could make an argument for the Collector because the Ignite Collector combo is pretty good. But he doesn't even have that. Like, there's actually just zero reason for him to have Collector here. He could just do so much more with, like, literally, like, any other item. Like, he could have, if he's wanting to carry, why didn't he just go second item? I mean, instead of Collector, why didn't he just grab a Bloodthirster? Or better yet, why didn't he go to Mortal Cringe Bow into Bloodthirster and then get Infinity Edge? Then he'd be, like, a real threat. Because he, like, one-shots you, and if he just autos you once, he heals to full HP. But instead he's got this wacky-ass build that makes zero sense. Yeah, like, Jose Dioto would be, like, on death's doorstep if this Jenkins actually knew how to itemize correctly, but I guess not. And this is just Jin taking over this fight. Okay, well, that's a win for FlyQuest. Does FlyQuest just win from here? Like, do they just end the base? They got Soul, but that doesn't really matter much. Although they get Baron. Baron's a lot more important here than the Soul. Honestly, CLG could have just given up the Cloud Soul. It's Cloud. With these champions, it really doesn't mean anything. Okay, so everyone kind of just dodge Poom's ult, and then from here it's just Jin sweeping in. getting some picks. All right. Yep, they just take Baron, and the game should just probably be over in a bit. Okay, so CLG gets Elder, but all right, and CLG just gets Elder. This game is such a fiesta. Like, what is going on this game? Nothing makes sense. Up is down, apparently. CLG is somehow actually getting back into this game, mainly just due to the fact that FlyQuest drafted Jin Zoe. Like the game would have been over so much like such a long time ago. If they just drafted like more scaling champions that could do more with a lead. But instead they want Jin Zoe for some unknown reason. Like I don't really know Takui. This is my first time seeing him. Maybe he's just really well known for Zoe, but like Zoe's been fine this game, but I haven't really seen any like exceptional plays from the Zoe. And the Jin's playing like pretty decently. Like the Jin's playing pretty good, but if he was playing Jinx, he could just do more. Like yeah, Jin can one shot someone, but Jinx can kind of just 1v9 the entire team fight and kill everyone. Jin can't quite do that. Yeah, this game is just such a ping pong and fiesta that just lasted so long. It's this game is going on for 47 minutes now. Like what is this? What am I watching? Testing, testing. Please work, please work. Alright, so CLG is pushing FlyQuest off. They could try and do Baron here. Although FlyQuest is in the area to potentially contest. Yeah, FlyQuest is just opting for the Baron fight. Although FlyQuest is... Okay, CLG just gives them the respect. This is just really awkward. I don't think either team knows what they're doing, like how to actually end the game. They're kind of just hoping that the other team messes up. But okay, this is pretty good Jin play. Actually, no, what's going on? Okay, so somehow FlyQuest is now in the spot to take Baron. What is going on in this game? Does either team know what they're doing? Oh, Poom misses another Lux ultimate. I actually don't think he's landed a single one. Alright, Contracts doesn't get the Baron still. And from here, is the game just over? It's probably just over, especially if they continue to wipe CLG. Actually, it's a pretty close fight. Oh, but Takui's just ending the game. So from here, FlyQuest just has to stall their backs. Like, Kumo, go in there. Go in. Go in, Kumo. Johnson, you guys just need to stall their backs. Takui is ending the game, or whatever his name is. Okay, overall, I did not like this game. For the first Janna top game of the LCS, this was just a slugfest. So many things were wrong. There's so many drafting errors. But overall, this is a pretty big win for FlyQuest. Like, no one, I think this can be said, no one actually likes that Janna top is a thing. But Janna top's going to be around, and you have to know how to play it. So I am interested to see how teams adjust around like the Janna top, and if they ban Janna top, then I want to see if they pick the alternatives, which is like Ivern and Rakan. But yeah, that's it for today. Hope you have a good day. Goodbye.